All four. Her name is Julieta, and Hoffman only sees the good in her and sees the evil in her. And what happens in the scene with Klaus and Julieta, all they see is the beautiful people in Venice, as they ride around this beautiful body of water here in Iran. Opening more for all of that. Thanks for help from one of our exhibitors. We're going now to one of the most popular of all operas. By the way, for those of you who are staying in the back, we do have some secret in the world. So it's always kind of fun to figure out what people's jobs are. I mentioned to you that in the last scene that Julieta was a courtesan, and in this wonderful opera, I'll take that back to you later. You know, that's not good at all. Dia Frederick. So now we're in the wonderful world of Carmen, and this scene that we're about to do takes place early in the opera. This is in Seville, and Carmen has two jobs. One job is she works in a cigarette factory, and the second job is she is a gypsy. And as you may know, gypsies sometimes have steal things or borrow things from different people. In this case, Carmen didn't steal anything as a gypsy, however, she did stab one of the women in the cigarette factory. So, what happens when that happens is you normally get arrested. And what do you know that our beautiful gypsy girl has gotten arrested. But she has found a very clever way to get out of this trouble because she is very beautiful and she knows how to speak to men. And this young officer, Don Jose, who has arrested her, immediately falls in love with her, of course. And she will have to try to talk her way out of being arrested here. I'll let you determine whether she's successful. And we'll tell you at the end of this opera, after she's already gone to Don Jose and found another lover, at the very end of the opera, he comes back because he's going to have her and kills her. But right now, he really doesn't want to do that. He just wants to see, and he says to her, don't talk to me. Because he knows if she talks to him, she's going to get her way. So she doesn't talk, she sits. We'll see how she does. to an opera that may not be as familiar to all of you as Carmen. And we all know different versions of the story of Cinderella. And has many actually, about 4 or 5 different operatic settings. The one that we're going to be treated to, and it is a treat, maybe something new for some of you, is a duet for the Opera Triomphe of Massenet. And it's interesting because Jules Massenet was somebody who wrote very thick orchestrations to a lot of his operas, but in this opera he took a much lighter hand, possibly because of the story that he was telling of the poor girl who becomes a princess. In some of the tellings of Cinderella, there's not a glass slipper. There are other things. There's a bracelet, there's a handkerchief. In this telling of Cinderella, she in fact has lost her glass slipper to fall. Most interesting, I think, if you don't know this piece, is the role of Prince Charming. And originally, this piece was written for a voice type of the French called Falcon, which is named for a French singer whose name is Falcon, who was somebody who at one time was a dramatic soprano, but then she had great vocals. And so she sang in what we would now call the word mezzo-soprano role. The role of Prince Charming, of the French Charmant, is so wonderful that the great Nicolai Gedda, the tenor, actually has sung this in performance, even though it's written to be sung by a woman. In our version, as you will see from this program, most of what we focus are duets. And this is a duet that here we have Cinderella and the prince who had been separated by this wall of flowers. And what happened is the fairy said, you can hear each other, but you may not see each other. It is beautiful garden scene. And we'll see they can have a happy ending, at least at this point. We all know how the fairy tale ends, but it is beautiful garden scene from Cendrillon, the French version of Cinderella. Enjoy. One of the great things, by the way, about following our seniors through their musical careers at the Hartt School is changes that happen to them. Sometimes somebody can come into the Hartt School as a baritone and leave as a tenor. And sometimes a woman will come in and she's singing mezzo soprano repertoire and then soprano repertoire and then back to mezzo soprano repertoire. And that's exactly what happened with the artist who's going to be singing this aria for you from Tchaikovsky's Ika. She was a mezzo soprano and a soprano, and I think you will feel that we have all agreed that this is a wonderful choice for Emily in the repertoire that she's exploring that. So we are in an opera. Very Russian. It's the only Russian piece on our program. And it's really about the story of a woman who is supposed to marry one guy that who she falls in love with, but she's being forced to marry someone else. Strangely, the piece that you're about to hear has nothing to do with the story of the opera Pico. Every once in a while in opera, we just do a piece that's a song. It's presentation. And this character, Pauline, is in a beautiful salon, as you can see. And we have some friends for her. They will have to have her friends come out here. And she will sing this song to them. And it's a song that's very dark, but she's not unhappy. She's just telling us about how love is very unhappy. And at the end of every love story, someone will wind up with it. And that makes people unhappy here because it's just a part of something. So we now have Pauline's aria from Pico. And have everybody who's joined us who are our friends. the next ensemble that we're going to do for you, we have some seats down front, folks, if you'd like to sit in the seat. More than welcome. Back when this class of seniors were sophomores, which was maybe 2 years ago, in an opera scenes program, the four women we're about to sing for you did a viciously difficult quartet from Verdi's or Falstaff. Interestingly, Verdi actually came out of retirement to write this opera. And he drew the characters from 3 different Shakespeare plays. One was The Merry Wives of Windsor. The next was Henry IV Part 1, and the second was Henry IV Part 2. Because Falstaff is quite different in these different plays of Shakespeare. And the women that you're going to meet, there are 2 very wealthy women who are married. They're Mistress Ford and Mistress Page. And Falstaff has been romancing them. Not so much because he wants the romance, but because he wants the money that their rich husbands have. And Falstaff thinks he's very clever. But these women are like clever than he is. But the other 2 women are, one of them is Nanetta, and she is the daughter of Alice Ford. She's one of this. And the other is Vane Quigley. She's many, many different things in the Shakespeare plays. Sometimes she's an innkeeper, but she's the one who really knows what's going on in town. And enjoy this quartet that they're going to sing to you, in which the women discover that rascal Falstaff has written both of the women that he's romancing an identical letter. So in him, he forgot to change any of the wording in it. So we know that this piece has many different sections, and it also ends with a wonderful a cappella section, and which all 4 women are singing different things. Vane Quigley is trying to figure out how she's going to put this knowledge to her use, and Alice Ford and Vane Page are trying to figure out how they're going to get the best of them and try to fool them. And Vanessa is like, wow, this is what grows. The quartet people.
Oh,
And for those of us who remember them as sophomore singing them now here in the seniors, it's just such a tremendous growth for all of them. I was so impressed that they wanted to do this. We're staying in the wonderful world of William Shakespeare into a very familiar story of Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet has been set into many, many operas in many languages. It's also been set into the famous musical West Side Story. So composers like the story, and we love that couple, Romeo and Juliet. In this case, now we're in France. We're in the French language setting, obviously in Verona, where the story takes place. And we're going to hear, by the way, this is, we have had many different couples, tenors and sopranos are singing, and this is the first time we hear this particular couple singing at the Hartt School. So this is the balcony scene, where Romeo and Juliet had briefly met, and now Romeo comes back to see her again. And they really are very young, and they don't kiss quite because they're very shy, and yet they make plans that they will meet tomorrow, even though they know that they shouldn't, because listen, we have feuding families in the United States, the Hatfields and the McCoys, the Clintons and the Bushers, whoever you want to but there it was the Capulets and the Montagues, and these two families were at war with each other. So this young couple makes plans for meeting tomorrow. It's yummy. The balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet. In this particular opera, the exact Shakespeare text is actually set in French. Enjoy.
Romeo, What
Okay, we're going from the sublime to the ridiculous. And by the way, after this next duet, we're going to take a little pause and then come back for some more amazing music. Donizetti wrote an awful lot of operas. He really did. But I think of all of his comic operas, Ladies in Amore, or The Elixir of Love, whatever that might mean, I think we'll find out, is certainly one of the best, if not the very best. Okay, here's a story of this introduction. There's a rich farmer, and her name is Abby. A person who's in love with her is not rich. He works on her farm as a peasant. His name is Nemorino. And Nemorino has no more chance with Athena than the Jimmy Hartt character did in the Dumb and Dumber. So, but he hangs around all the time. And a very handsome sergeant comes into town, and he's, they're beginning to make that'll be a guy for her. And Nemorino's very jealous. And another guy comes to town, and his name is Dr. Umfamai. He's a doctor of salesmanship, for sure. And he has with him an elixir of love. You find out during the course of the opera that it is oil wine, but not everybody knows this. And he's managed to sell the elixir to poor Nemorino, who wants nothing more than to marry Amina. And strange things happen in this opera, because at the same time that he has bought this elixir, he also has unexpectedly had an inheritance, and all of the girls in the village will be saying Nemorino. And Athena absolutely cannot know what to do. But in the meantime, Nemorino has signed a contract with that sergeant to go off into the army so that he could have enough money to buy that elixir. Isn't that sad? In this duet, we're going to meet Dr. Umfamai and Athena. They each have a different idea of how she can bring back Nemorino's heart, because now he's very complicated all for us. He says, all you need is a little of his elixir. And the next thing you know, he'll be strutting around, loosely with all the chickens, and she was the only one who could see. And she says, I have a better idea. I think through my beauty and my flirtatious ways, I can win better. You can decide who makes the better argument. After this duet, some fun for you all, we'll take 3 calls. And now we go through wonderful world of the elixir of love. We are going to, as you can find your seats, that's great. We're going to the wonderful world of Giancarlo Menotti. And Menotti, he was born in Italy, but he's about as American as any composer could possibly be. He and his mother immigrated to Florida first, and he wound up studying in Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore. And not only did he write in very American idioms, but he also became so wonderfully fluent and dramatic in English that he wrote many of the librettos to his operas, including the one that we will be hearing an excerpt from this evening, which is called Reading. Now, Menotti also, he wrote the first opera ever designed to be performed on the radio. It's called The Old Radio Thief. He wrote the first opera ever designed to be performed on television, the iconic Amal and the Night Visitors. And this piece, he was so interested in this story that he actually assisted in directing a noir film, a very black film about the story of the medium. So if you can imagine that we are in a parlor in the home of Madame Flora, that's her stage name. And let's meet our characters now, as they come out. Here's Madame Flora. This is her home. She is Baba, and this is her beautiful young daughter, Monica. The young man there is Toby. Toby is a mute, and he never sings or says anything during the course of the opera, but he's a very important character. Now, we don't know who Monica's father is, and this Baba, as Madame Flora, conducts fake seances in her home. If you ever saw the movie Ghost, there's a character that Whoopi Goldberg played where she did one of her fake seances, and all of a sudden it wasn't fake anymore. And that's exactly what happens to Baba in the movie. And she is conducting this fake sex, and all of a sudden she hears voices talking to her, and she has, as Beth Malaka said to me when we rehearsal, she has a meltdown. She has a seizure. And her daughter Monica does the only thing that she can do. She sings her the same lullaby that Baba had sung to her when she was growing up. However, the words are very dark because they're a lullaby that was sung in a very dark room. And Toby, as always, never says anything that helps her place. As Monica attempts to give solace to her mother, who has just had that very out-of-body experience. Okay, maybe the most perfect opera ever written, just my opinion. Bravo, Anna. It is my opinion. And I remember I mentioned to you all that these seniors picked the pieces they wanted to do. This idea is looking forward in their lives, what they thought they might want to do, what they thought they might want to sing. And I was super thrilled that we had 4 people who wanted to do this scene. This is not a quartet. The quartet that we heard from Falstaff was 4 people singing to each other. This is something very different. This is a double duet. You have 2 couples. They do not interact with each other, but they sing at the same time. In this opera, in this scene that we're going to do, we're in Act 3, or at the end of Act 3 of La Boheme. We have our first couple, who's Mimi and Rodolfo. He is a writer. She is a maker of artificial flowers, and they are very much in love. But in addition to the fact that she's very poor, Mimi is also very sick. She is dying from tuberculosis, and Rodolfo has just found out. She doesn't know what she wants to do. She doesn't want to stay around and be sick with him. So at the beginning of this scene, this is a scene that has an aria, and then a duet, and then a double duet, and back to a single duet. And so Mimi actually sings an aria to Rodolfo, in which she says, "I think I must leave you, and I'm going to go away from our life together. I'm going to go back to my little garret apartment." And then she's just about to say, "Oh, a couple of things. I want to have some things back from you. My cross and my prayer book and everything." And then she tells him, in the softest note that she could ever wrote in any of his operas, she says, "Under the pillow is that pink bonnet that you bought me." And it looks like she's going to go off. And then they have a little interchange, and Rodolfo says, "Okay, well," she says goodbye to all this because he's very suspicious of her. And then he said, "How about all those kisses?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, your mom used to wake up and in the morning would be so nice." Anyway, they decide that they're not going to split up right now, that they're going to stay together until springtime comes. And things are going along too well until couple number 2 makes their presence known. And this is Marcello and Musetta, and they are a much louder couple in every way than Rodolfo and Mimi. They wear their passions right out in front of everyone. Now, Musetta teaches singing and dancing, maybe some other things. And Marcello, who's a painter, is very, very, very jealous of her. And they're having a horrible argument. In fact, I think that they even get them to throw some things at each other. And they come out spitting fire and said, "I saw you flirting with that guy." And she said, "I'll do whatever I want because we're not married." And she says that the word husband is the word because you sounded like a husband. That's the worst thing that we could sound like. And they go on and have their argument. from the notebook, sing their beautiful work here. Couple number 2 leaves, and then couple number 1 will have a nice thing to add for you to decide to stay together until the beautiful and warm spring. So this is our double thread from our as we meet our first couple. By the way, that also marked the first time that Philippe Lesperance and Alison Lynch ever sang together in their career at Hartt School. Maybe not the last time. So that was a double duet. Now we go to a single duet that is so iconic. If you don't think you know this duet, you're wrong. You know it. When you hear the music, it may make you want to get on British Airways, or it may make you want to feel like having chocolate, because it has appeared in ads for those things many, many times. And so we are in the land of India. We have a princess, Lakshmi. Her father is the high priest in the Hartt. Now, we know that in history that the British Raj came in and took over the continent of India, or the country of India, and imposed British rule on them. So her father is not allowed to be a priest openly. He has to hide his religious services. Lakshmi, the princess, and her handmaiden, Malika, come to this beautiful pond here in front of me that I'm sure you can plainly see. And at this point in the opera, it's very, very early in the opera when this duet occurs. And the day is dawn, and the sun is filtering through these trees that grow over this beautiful little lake. And they sing about how beautiful it is under in the morning when all the light comes through and it's filtered through. You will hear Machne call to Melikon to come and enter. And in the middle of this duet, there's a section that's very different. All of a sudden, Machne, who's very happy with her friend and handmaid, becomes very concerned. She says she's thinking about her father. What will happen if the British come after him again? And he will be in danger. And Melikon tells her not to worry, that the gods will protect him. And then they sing some more of one of the most beautiful works of art ever created, the flower duet from Machne.
Qui coulait par les soins
Puccini now, this time to an opera called Tosca. And by the way, I want to remind you that all of the students who are here tonight are undergraduates. That's pretty amazing singing, I think. So here we are. This is the beginning of the last act of Tosca. Very, very complicated story. It really has to do with political insurrection. The diva, Claudia Tosca herself, is an opera singer. That comes in pretty handy. And her lover is Milo Cavaradossi. And he has been arrested, and he's going to be executed. That's when we meet him here. Claudia Tosca, by the way, thinks she has made an arrangement so that he actually won't be executed. It'll be a fake execution. It's an opera where all three of the principal singers die at the end, but fortunately our tenor is still alive at the beginning of this act because he gets to tell us he's overwhelmed as he's waiting for dawn when his execution is due. He looks up and he sees the stars and he remembers all of the wonderful times he had and the love he has for Tosca. In this scene, we have the jailer comes in to inform Mario that he can meet with the priest if he would like. And Mario says, no, no thanks. I'd rather just stay here and I'm going to write a letter to Tosca instead. The part of the jailer is an iconic one in opera because there are few people in roles in opera that are defined by one role. One of them is in La Traviata Verdi, when the servant comes in and announces like chicken plum for dinner is ready. That is the entire part that the person sings. And here we have the jailer come in, and when he says, Mario Cavaradossi, our boy, this is for you, we know this incredibly moving scene has had. So we were looking forward to what our student artists may sing, and I think this film may well be in the future. Act 3, Tosca. Our last duet is very, very important to opera singers. It has two characters and one word. It can be sung by a man and a woman, by two men, by two women, by perhaps another species. It can be a love duet. It can be a competition. This piece was written by Rossini, apparently when he actually heard two cats having a scrap outside the apartment of one of his lady loves. That's the story. I wasn't there. I don't know. But because this is time for the seniors to have their own way, our two artists singing this duet made up their own story for it. So we have gone to the sublime of Mario Cavallerossi's anguish to the ridiculous of Rossini's captain. Let's see what kind of characters come out. By the way, this duet is dedicated to Joanna. All of our seniors come together to sing for you. We started our program with a scene from Tales of Hoffman, and we end our program with the very last scene of the Tales of Hoffman. I think I mentioned to you at the very beginning that there are many, many different versions of this opera. Back in the 1950s, a gentleman named Antonio de Almeida discovered the supposed intertext version. It had much different music from things that we had come to know that had been performed before. And a lot of times we use parts of this version and other parts we don't. But the very best part of it is the very end. I mentioned to you that Hoffman was falling in love with all the wrong kinds of women. And at the end of this opera, in an epilogue, Niklaus, his page, turns into the woman he was looking for all along. And she says, from all of your tears and sadnesses, our hearts will grow warm. We meet the other characters who said, Stella, who was his muse at the beginning. Landorf, who's one of the villains who tried to stop him along the way. And of course, we hear Hoffman and Niklaus, and they are joined by a heavenly chorus, because at the end of this it says, love is grand. So we end our senior seminar exam with this gorgeous epilogue from the Tales of Hoffman. You can meet all the characters.
Oh, sorry. I just want to see if our live stream is going. Thank you.